Here we are at the end of the Black Mesa Blue Shift series of modeling and texturing and rendering, and I'm going to be showing you some final renders, so thank you very much for coming by here. In terms of the video series timeline, these are the thumbnails from the 6 parts. This will be the 7th part of the series. We started off looking at some references from the game, so the in-game shots of this thing. And then I started modeling in part 2 over here. And I think it was at this time that some of the guys that had actually created the game contacted me and said that they were following, and that gave me a lot of encouragement and inspiration to keep it going. In part 3, all we did was pretty much model the light here and made a few tweaks, and then we got into a little bit of texturing in Substance Painter, and you can see the progress right here. Alright, so I am done. I figured that was a good amount of stuff to texture with you, and I would go on and I would just finish it up and do some final touches to the thing. So this was the in-game shot, the original image that I wanted to create or sort of emulate in my own sort of humble style. All right, and this is what I ended up coming up with. So it was I hope somewhat true to the original, but with my own sort of flavor to it. So that's my render there. Of course, all of this was modeled in Blender. It was textured in Substance Painter. The render is in Eevee. It's not the new Eevee. It's an older version of Eevee with my old version of Blender, and a little bit of post-processing in GIMP and in Topaz Studio. So I'm going to show you a couple more renders. There's not that much to see. I mean, that's the main corridor right there, so I just have it from a few different angles. So here is that same shot, just a little bit larger. You can see the door and the light above the door. You can see the pipes over here on the left side, and a decal or decal, as some of you like to say. I'm in Canada, we tend to say decal. You can see the electrical stuff and the light here, and some pipes and a ceiling, as well as the floor. And then from here I just swiveled the camera so you could see other things. So you can see another shot looking up towards the ceiling, and then a shot looking down towards the floor. Here are the electrical panels, and I did model that and texture that with you. And here is just a final shot from sort of beside the electrical panels looking towards the door. So this project was a lot of fun to do. I was really inspired. I mean, right from the start, when I saw the in-game stuff, and I said, you know what, I'm going to take some screenshots of this. And just looking at the modeling and the texturing, and of course the game itself is a blast, but I knew I wanted to try something like that because it seemed like it was doable. You know, not everything that they do is doable for a guy like me. Since I began working on the game, like I say, the gang that created this mod has been in touch with me, and I'm flattered and I'm humbled, and I've learned that a lot of the texturing that they have done in their game, I'm sorry you're sitting here looking at my picture while I'm going to talk about their stuff, a lot of the texturing apparently is done in Photoshop, which makes sense, and some in Substance Painter. A lot of the modeling is done in Blender, so how about that, guys? You know, people are really using Blender for these things, and some of it in 3ds Max, and then on with their, you know, rendering engine and stuff like that. What we're doing here, at least on this channel, is essentially just modeling and texturing, and I will move eventually into game engines, but for now we're concentrating on this so that people can you know, follow along if they want to. This is just my humble attempt to model some cool stuff, and I have done some neat stuff over the past while. It's been a lot of fun. This is my sort of game fan art. I've done some stuff from The Last of Us up here. There's an air conditioner from The Last of Us. I did a couple of air conditioners, and if we swing over here, this is one of the living room scenes from early on in the game from The Last of Us as well. There is some Black Mesa stuff down here that I did, and we've done some Duke Nukem. This is the rooftop scene from the original Duke Nukem 3D. with a few modifications that I did, but inspired by the Duke Nukem. And then, of course, recently I did another Duke Nukem Again series where we were in this sort of courtyard thing. I've done the Fallout computer terminal, and I've done some stuff from Subnautica down here. And of course, there's been Uncharted. And here is the bell tower, a part of the bell tower, and Nate's ring as well. In terms of what's to come, there are a lot of games that I would like to do some art from. I would like to do more Uncharted. I would like to do more The Last of Us. I would like to do more from Fallout. Of course, I would like to do more from the Black Mesa stuff. I probably would like to do more Subnautica. I like the fact that the Subnautica stuff is very clean versus the stuff from, say, The Last of Us. I would like to do stuff from Resident Evil, and there are other games that have been suggested to me. Keeping in mind that I'm only working in Blender and in Substance Painter pretty much, and I'm just having fun. This is all for enjoyment, and I like to do it on video so that you can watch me make my mistakes and do it this way or do it that way with some weird topology and weird texturing. But hopefully we end up getting to a point where we get some final renders and they look all right, and we say, you know what, it was worth that process of 8 or 10 or 12 or more videos in the series. I know that the videos are a little bit long as opposed to short videos with Blender tips. There are plenty of people who are doing those. I remember when I first started out, I was a little frustrated that I didn't see people doing as much of this kind of thing where they do a series and build up a scene. There's a lot of videos on modeling a chair or a table or a sofa or a gun, and not as many full-length videos as opposed to time lapses where they do a whole scene or most of a whole scene. And I wanted to see how a scene could evolve from these simple sort of props and blockouts to the final thing. And that's what I am doing on my channel. So I think it's a little bit different than many of the things that I've seen, and I want to continue doing that. Although I also like to do some of the shorter ones with just tips on how to do like a ceiling fan or a lantern. All those things are very useful. So thank you so much for coming by the series. I hope you liked that, and I hope you'll come back again for more. Take care.